the Taifa Nagao convene once again. Hodari, one of the tribal elders, explains their recent operation to neutralize Zenzi the Revealer was a success. The turmoil in the region of the Great Mound has withered. Their operatives report some subversive activity along the Ngandan frontier, but the eastern region has calmed. That is good news. However, the damage done by their incident at the Great Mound was profound. It may be imperceptible at the moment, but it has not vanished. Hodari informs the council that they are tracking down information about the shaman as well. They have his name, Tetu, and they know he was once a pupil at the University Hekima Shule. He was a student of Changamire. The Queen Mother knows that name well. Changamire was a dissident philosopher at Shule, and before that, the hand-picked tutor for King T'Chaka's royal court. Since then, Changamire has been exiled from the Golden City for exoneration against the monarchy. Hodari doesn't have any solid evidence of Changamire aiding Tetu and his revolution, but it may warrant a visit. Also, for weeks, Hodari and his men have heard disturbing rumors out of the north. They lacked confirmation until last night, when an operative in the Crystal Forest sent them footage. M'Baku once held sway there, but after he was killed, his younger brother, Mandla, took up the man-ape mantle and consolidated power. That was the state of things until sometime last month. They do not know what happened or how it happened, but Anika, a renegade captain of the Dora Milaje, sentenced to death for assassination, as well as Io, another one of their adored ones, whom evidently stole two of their armor prototypes and used them to free Anika, are marauding through the country. Hodari's men have been pursuing them for some time, but their forces have been so depleted, their needs so vast, that they lost track of them. In the future, that will prove to be a grave mistake. These renegades overran Mandela's forces, razed the citadel of the Jabari forefathers, and convened tribunals. The Jabari tribesmen and several Dora Milaje have sided with Anika and Io. They have begun assembling communes, calling for elections, writing and enforcing laws. The king must understand, this is not mere hooliganism. This is a revolution. Later, the Queen Mother, Ramonda, ventures with her royal guard to the learned city of Azaria, where the University Hekima Shule rests, where Changamire resides. And Changamire certainly is not dishonored, or even displeased by the Queen Mother's presence. Yet, he cannot escape the feeling that somehow she is displeased with him. The Queen Mother coyishly asks Changamire Can two friends not speak of the days when they were young together? However, Changamire proves to be wise enough to understand that two friends can and should, but presently, they appear to be more than two. The Queen Mother waves her guards away so that she and Changamire can speak in private. Once they leave the room, Changamire demands to know what Ramonda wants. Perhaps he's violated some edict by speaking to his pupils as adults. Is he now to be exiled from Wakanda entirely? Ramonda sighs heavily, but Changamire will not put up with her condescension. He is not one of her pets. He gave up on that years ago, right when he gave up on her. Ramonda pauses for a moment before admitting that once she regretted that. She was young in a strange land and made by Changamire to feel like a woman. And then Ramonda remembered that her destiny was not to be a woman, but to be a queen. There was no choice. Changamire argues that there is never any choice for anyone in Wakanda. Wakanda is science and wonder, all of it achieved by ensuring the royal family's subjects don't ask too many questions. Wakanda has all the intelligence any advanced society would want, and none of the wisdom that any free society needs. Changamire is fully aware that Ramonda is there for information about Tetu. She can feign piousness all she wants, but he will not do the work of her agents for them. He will not enroll in the royal family's national lie. Ramonda takes offense. She and Changamire studied a lot together, and yet, in all their time, they never studied a single nation founded on truth and candor. Wakanda will always be exceptional. The truth is, Changamire didn't condemn the royal family for being mediocre. He blamed them for not being divine. Before Ramonda departs, she tells Changamire that she believed he was many things, but she never thought he was anyone's pet, and warns her old friend to keep his head down. The storm is coming. Who is the shaman named Tetu? It was the questions that brought him to the Shule, and the questions that forced him to leave. Tetu sought answers that mocked the mean physics of men, and ultimately lay in the deeper nature of all living things. But when Tetu searched, he found only charlatans deluding the common man with superstition and hoaxes. Tetu retreated deeper into the wilderness of Wakanda. He followed no man, but took wisdom from root, bark, and earth. He returned with answers, and from the answers, Tetu drew the power to punish the acquisitive, who would take from the little people even their share of daylight if they could. Tetu explains to Io, Anika, and the mother, Mbali, that he wanted a new country. A country that respected every man equally, and respected the earth from which they all hail, and the earth to which they all shall return. He believes he has founded that country, and he comes to offer the midnight angels his admiration. Toppling the Jabari tyrant was a great service to the nation. But more, Tetu offers the women his arms. He fears their strife with the Jabari will not end. War is coming. Io tells the revolutionary that she fears no man. Each day, another of their sisters joins their cause. Each day, they grow stronger. The midnight angels were enough for Mandla. They will be enough for the Demisa Sarki, too. Tetu wonders, can the angels be sure it will be the orphan king alone? What of his allies beyond Wakanda? What of the Wind Rider? What of the Lady of the Light? The people, his people, are not arrayed merely against tyranny, but against a particular dishonor. To massacre their own people, to brazenly assault a camp of women and children. The orphan king has gone mad. Anika grit her teeth. She is not blind to recent events, nor are they blind to the Demisa Sarki's allies. But they are, as they say, a new country, a new nation. Prudence is required, especially in their allies. The women know who Tetu is. They know of his battles with the king. They think he may well prove to be a true friend to their cause. But, right now, all they share are kind words and a common enemy. That is not yet enough. The next morning, the king and the queen mother sit together for breakfast. The queen mother informs the king that Changamir did not tell her anything. He did not want to, but even if he had wanted to, he had nothing to tell. When the queen mother first came to Wakanda, it was a fashionable time. The entire court was in the thrall of philosophy. It was believed that their advanced society needed to develop an advanced morality. The king knows his father as a warrior, and he was that. But he was also an enlightened man. He invited the seers into the court. His father believed in a new age, but the constant war killed his faith, and the king should know what happened from there. What the queen mother will say is that Changamir was the most honorable of the lot. He was a tutor to the queen mother personally in Wakandan philosophy and its possible evolution. Granted, they have not been in constant contact since the old days, but Changamir is not a revolutionary. He renounced violence. And yet, here we are, the king remarks. He thanks the queen mother for her intelligence, and then asks her for her counsel. In truth, the Queen Mother admits that she does not think the king's problem is an old philosopher, and she does not think his problem is the renegade Dora Milaje. His problem is the people. What the king's father understood, but Changamire never did, was that the first rule of any government was to safeguard its people. The king snaps back that he has failed to do just that. Doom, Namor, the Black Order, and threats that are not even known to the people. The Queen Mother continues her point. What Changamire understood, and the king's father ultimately did not, is that protection is not enough. Force is not enough. She asks, to what end does all the king's weaponry angle them? What are they really protecting? The people's lives are not enough. What do their lives mean? The king believes that he is protecting their heritage, their traditions. But the Queen Mother argues that he is smarter than that. The people know that story well. He is going to have to give them more. The king sighs out that he has given everything. He has nothing left to give. The Queen Mother disagrees. She states the king has never given willingly. He feels the weight of the crown, but he has never felt the great honor of being king. His people are a burden to him, and he has never let them forget this. The king says he has given it all, but he is wrong. He has never truly given himself to his country. What the king should do, what the king needs to do, is go out and be with the people. He needs to give those who love him something more than recitation and ceremony. By giving that which all great kings ultimately offer: inspiration. Zenzi the Revealer has been in a coma since her last altercation with the Panther. But she has not been without aid. Tetu has been watching over her, healing her slowly with his mysticism. He uses the power of nature itself to breathe life back into Zenzi and lift her spirit back into the land of the awakened. She opens her eyes and for a moment lays there, smiling softly at Tetu. He smiles back. He is pleased with his work, and Zenzi will be of much aid in the time to come. Tetu leaves the room and enters another. In this room sits a man with a black suit. His name is Ezekiel Stain, son of Obadiah Stain, the Ironmonger. And it seems to Zeke that Tetu and the revolution are in need of some assistance. He is well aware of Zenzi's importance to Tetu's movement, as well as how much the revolutionary was depending on the aid of the Midnight Angels. He is also aware that the king is making a public appearance, most likely to gloat over his recent victories. Without a major upgrade, the king is going to draw and corner Tetu's revolution, and then he'll put Tetu's head on a pike. Tetu tells Zeke he doesn't care. It is not fear of his death that brings his revolution together. It is fear of losing. Fear of tyranny extending itself unchallenged even one more day. A mischievous grin spreads on Zeke's face. Tetu claims he wants a revolution. But is he ready for the future it brings? Zeke is well aware of what is to come. There will be panic in the streets, fire in the sky, casualties, and agony. The king, for the first time in a long time, maybe even longer than he can remember, spent the day amongst the people. He shook hands. He waved. He smiled and laughed. And for a moment, he was happy. And then, out of nowhere, an explosion went off in the distance. And then, another. And then, came the screams of the people. And then the crying. And the pleading. And then, there was another explosion. This one was close. Too close. The Queen Mother tried to escape but was caught in the crossfire. And, without realizing, the king too was screaming and crying and pleading. The casualties were extensive, both the injured and the dead. If not for the shielding on the king's vibranium suit, the Queen Mother would have been among them. Her injuries are extensive, but she will live. The king tells his council to make sure they listen well. There will be no more discourse, no more deliberation, no more excuses, no more mercy. They know what this is. It is war. And war is their nation's trade. It has been so for generations. They are Wakanda. They will not be terrorized. They are terror itself.